OTAs continuing for the Browns this week. They held their second open session to the media today, so we got to see all of practice. We heard from coordinators Steve Wilks, Todd Monken, Mike Prefer, a couple players as well. But Mary Kay, of course, the ongoing story continues to be not the players who are here, but the players who are not here.
Yeah, and there were a couple of other guys missing today, in addition to Odell Beckham Jr. and Duke Johnson, who really haven't been here either at all or very much at all. Today, Myles Garrett wasn't there. Olivier Vernon wasn't there. Antonio Callaway wasn't there. It's starting to become contagious. Fortunately, we don't care. Nobody cares. It's voluntary. We don't need all these guys here. What do you guys think?
Well, obviously, as you said, this is the voluntary portion, and guys are taking advantage of that. We'll really find out as we get closer and closer to the mandatory minicamp in a couple weeks. I'm curious if maybe next week we'll see a few more faces show up.
Yeah, I think to echo that. I think it's the perception. It's you want people here to kind of know that everybody's on the same page. You want Odell Beckham here because you want him to show everybody that he's here and he's ready to lead. It's not so much what they have to do on the field. You know, you're a veteran, you've been successful, you know what you're going to do in OTAs. It's more about off the field stuff, I think.
And there's certainly some value in it because there's a lot of names that are here that do see that value in it. You know, you're looking at some offensive linemen that have shown up. You know, Christian Kirksey is a veteran guy. He's shown up. Joe Schobert is here. There are guys, big names, who are here who find value in this. Demarius Randall is another one. He's a veteran who maybe could have a little contract dispute if he wanted to, but he decided to show up. So certainly there's value in all of this. Now let's talk quickly about what we saw on the field. Scott, you and I posted some observations. Defensively, the thing that stood out to me is Greedy Williams was working with the first team. He was starting opposite Denzel Ward for most of practice. On the offensive side, what stood out to you?
Yeah, speaking of first team, second team, Austin Corbett, your second team center today. You know, we don't know how things worked in the sessions that we weren't able to see, but today he was working with the second team as center. Kyle Kalis, the former St. Edward offensive lineman, was in at right guard in his place. So that wasn't the case last week. Austin Corbett got most of the reps at first team guard. Kalis did get a few, but it was mostly Corbett. So that was a big change today. We'll get to see what happens going forward. We didn't get a chance to ask Freddie Kitchens about that today because he didn't talk to us today. So next week, hopefully we'll get some answers on what that meant.
Now, I mentioned Denzel Ward, Mary Kay, and we got to hear from him for the first time this spring. And one of the things he talked about, and it came up last year, it came up today again with Steve Wilks, is that tackling. And, of course, Denzel Ward suffering those 2 concussions last year.
Yeah, he knows now he's got to change his tackling technique. Steve Wilks talked about the importance of his cornerbacks tackling, and that's how you develop your defensive identity. So those guys, Greedy, Denzel, that will be a point of emphasis for them. Another thing I wanted to mention real quick, when we did talk to Todd Monken today, the new offensive coordinator, he mentioned that they are installing the entire offense right now. They have 8 installs. They're through 5 of them. They will be through all 8 of them by next week. So these are some of the reasons why it's not a bad idea to show up.
All right, we will have full coverage of the day here in Berea, all at cleveland.com/Browns.